Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Miller. I run a real estate team here in Blaine, cleverly named the Tyler Miller team, put a lot of thought into that one. I started this podcast because, over my 12 years full-time, I've come across lots of agents that are just struggling, trying to figure out, hey, what are the top producers doing? How can I level up my game? And so I'm consistently sitting down with top producing agents, up-and-comers, rising stars, and figuring out what it is that they do best at their business, and then have them tell us all their secrets. So it's fantastic. Today, I am very excited to be joined by the one and only Alex Skelly. So thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. And I love it when it's people I don't know. So I'm meeting Alex for the first time today as well. We've communicated via Instagram, but never had the opportunity to meet you yet. So far, it's so good. He's not completely terrible. No, he's crushing it. He's doing a lot of things right. He's been doing this for, I think you said 3+ years.
Yep, 3 years.
So, got a lot of things he's learned from already. 3 years in the real estate industry is an eternity.
Yeah.
Lots of ups and downs. But I'm excited for you guys to get to know him today and learn about some of the things he's doing really well so you can apply it to your business. So without further ado, let's get to know Alex. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe some personal life stuff, like where you grew up, what you like to do, and then give us some background on your real estate experience.
Yeah, so I grew up in northern Minnesota, being Grand Rapids, and growing up there, my father was actually in real estate for over 20 years. He just retired this last year in December.
Your grandfather?
No, my father.
Your father?
My father was.
What's your father's name?
Tim.
Tim Skelly?
Yep. Tim Skelly, yep.
I feel like I know that name.
Potentially, yeah. We get a lot of referral business, or I do now, kind of off the heels of him. The networks up there that I catch some of that coming down or going up, so it's been beneficial in a way. But
so where's northern Minnesota? Like
Grand Rapids is from here, because we're on the north end of the metro. It's about 3 hours, 3 hours north. It's like centrally located in the state, east to west, but pretty much straight north 3 hours.
And what brought you to the cities?
Yeah, so I went to school over in North Dakota at UND and came down here for work. And one thing led to another. I did that. My title prior to this, I was industrial maintenance engineer, and it was working on a lot of like automation systems and robotics and things like that. Down in Lakeville is where this job was. And I did that for like 3 years, and that's what got me down into the cities in the first place.
Yeah.
And I also was intrigued to just move down here and try it out, because at that point I was a lot younger and wanted to see new things and try different aspects of life.
Yeah.
So,
did you know that my dad was also a realtor?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm third generation. My grandfather also.
Yeah.
But
the apple don't fall far.
No, not at all. And more people I meet, because my dad is technically he's a broker at Edina Realty.
Yeah.
He's still in the industry, but more and more people I meet, they'll be like, yeah, is your dad Kevin? And they're like, yeah. He's like, man, you're just like him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, that's a compliment, I think, but I have more hair than him, so that's good.
That is hilarious. Me too. My old man's bald.
Oh yeah, my dad's hanging on by a few threads, man. But it's cool to you probably grew up right just around the real estate world.
Yep.
Going to the office, probably helping your dad read a map book to figure out what the hell property he's driving to, or
what I mean. In signs, all the things.
And so, did you always feel like you might get into the real estate industry when you took that job, for example, in Lakeville? Was it something on your radar, or?
No, not necessarily. When I moved down here, I was, corporate structure, things of that nature. After I did that career path for about 3.5 years, and after like two and a half, I knew that it wasn't for me, and I was kind of spinning my wheels trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and I was just really dissatisfied with that choice after a while. And one thing led to another, kind of coincidentally, but how I met my now partner, Joe Mueller, is he sold me a house.
There you go. That's how a lot of people get in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oftentimes it's like, they were really bad,
Yeah.
and I wanted better, so I thought I could do better. But I'm guessing Joe, being your partner, crushed it for you.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he did really well, and then it's more of the social presence that I followed after the fact, and maintain that relationship with him because we both have an interest in motocross and racing dirt bikes.
Yep.
So hung out with him after the fact, saw his social presence, seeing that he had a lot going on, kind of shucking and jiving, and I was drawn to that. So eventually, like I said, 3 years into it, I approached him to join his team, and he's kind of a one-man, if you will, a one-man army.
Yeah.
And was reluctant at first, but I kind of stuck on him, and eventually agreed to let me join the team. And one thing led to
Cheers.
another.
First team member?
He's had a couple in the past, but nothing that really stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's exciting, man. So Joe and you're on the Move team?
The Move Group.
Move Group.
Yep.
At Remax?
Yeah, results.
Remax Results. What type of production do you guys do?
Yeah, so kind of depending how you're asking that question, it's all mainly residential. We get into, I manage some rental portfolios for investor clients. Joe's rental portfolio, I'm working on my own. So I do dabble a little bit in leasing as well, but it's actually kind of crazy. I think that reflecting on the last couple of years of doing that, that is a good lead source.
It is.
Some people kind of scoff at that, if you will, to say, I'm not going to be a leasing agent. But January 1 of this year, I had a nice listing go on the market because they wanted to lease one of our properties that had advertised. So that's been kind of a pillar in my business. But getting back to it, we do a little bit of commercial, fraction of a percent, but a vast majority is just residential transactions, and we've kind of built, to speak a little more on that, we've built a little more of a niche to work with investor clients, kind of fix and flips, or people looking to buy rentals and kind of burr them, if you will.
Yep.
So.
And then as far as like volume numbers, you said you're around 30?
Yeah, our goal is 30 million this year. We were at about 25 last year, and I think that goal is attainable.
Between two people, that's awesome. You know what I mean? That's those are big numbers for two people.
Don't let me fool you. He pulls a lot of the weight, but I'm holding my own.
That's okay, man. It's 3 years in the industry. I mean, the fact that you are doing what you're doing.
Yep.
I mean, your personal numbers aren't anything to scoff at.
Yeah. You don't think so?
No.
Are you being honest?
Yeah. No. 100%. I mean, especially in this market.
Yeah.
Like, you got in 3 years ago, so you just seen like just the back end of COVID, basically, right? I mean, this market's been hard. Like, if you can succeed in this, the last 3 years, basically since you got in, if you can succeed going through all the ups and downs and the different changes and now interest rates and then this and that, you're going to succeed in any market.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people that got in during COVID didn't make it because it was easy.
Yeah.
You didn't have to close anybody. The market was closing everything for you because it's like, well, I can move from this house and buy a house twice as big, and it's the same price or same monthly payment because the interest rates were so cheap, right?
Yeah.
That's just not the case anymore. You have to close people. You have to, and not like trick them or anything like that, but you have to really educate them so that they're like, this is the obvious thing to do.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, trust me, these first 3 years are going to treat you very, very well for the rest of your career, because I don't think I mean, you never know, knock on wood. I don't see it getting harder than it is right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
I hope that's the case, and I appreciate the insight from you, because I know that you oversee a lot of agents and their productivity, and a lot of them are new to the industry. So that's cool. And I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me the same thing, to be honest with you, as far as, well, even people that are seasoned in this realm of business, they're like, well, my business used to be great, and now it's kind of waned off, and the market's so hard. I just personally, I refuse to let that dictate my outcome.
100%.
Like, those are external forces that will be. I am not immune to it. I've had deals fall off this year because we got showing houses pre-approved, offer accepted, oh wait, my payment's going to be what?
Right.
And all of a sudden they flake, and
Yep.
you everything you can do, rate buy downs, all the things to try to keep it together and alive.
Yep.
Some of them you can't give CPR to.
And you just go get the next lead.
Exactly.
So this is one thing that you probably understand because usually the people that are succeeding understand, like your job as a realtor is not because. So I answered this question wrong. I won't put you on the spot and ask you the question because when I was younger, my regional manager asked me this question. He's like, Tyler, what's your job as a realtor? And I was like, to help people buy and sell houses. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, duh. And he's like, no, you moron.
You're a prospector.
Yeah, your job is to find the next lead. Plain and simple. Because if you don't do your job, you're out of business, right?
Yep.
But a lot of realtors don't understand that. They think their job is to post on social media, to go show houses, to write contracts, all that stuff. All that's a byproduct of our job, but your job is that prospecting time, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like obviously Joe has taught you very well. That is your job, and if you don't do it, it's not going to go well. So like, no surprise you're having success, and kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun to look back on this maybe 3-4 years from now and be like, man, I wasn't doing shit.
Yeah, I hope
I've
that's
like
the
quadrupled it, and
Yeah.
but it's a great. I mean, your production is nothing to scoff at in this market. There's so many top producing agents that would love to have those numbers right now. So, but okay, so we got to know you a little bit. You're from northern Minnesota. You got a little bit of a Minnesotan accent. I love it.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And now you're just kicking butt in the Twin Cities. Where do you live currently?
Yeah, so I'm down in the South Metro, right on the edge of Apple Valley and Burnsville.
'Kay.
Our office that we were based out of is in Apple Valley.
Okay, awesome. So is that your primary market, the Apple Valley area, or do you guys find yourselves kind of going all over the place?
Don't get me wrong, we will go wide and far to make a deal happen. Like
Yeah.
my very first listing was in Little Falls.
There you go.
Yep. So
It's a great area. I love Little Falls.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There's motocross track there.
There you go. There you go.
But anyways, yeah, a good majority of our business. It'd be tough to pin down a percentage to it, but a wide margin is Minneapolis and south. We do venture up into your neck of the woods, steal a couple deals.
That's
and,
all right. There's enough to go around, baby.
Yeah, yeah, but we do try to keep it local and kind of organically with listings, open houses, where I'm prospecting. It does tend to be, down in that southeast corner, Lakeville, Apple Valley, Burnsville, Farmington, Rosemount.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Well, if you ever just get tired of the drive for one of your buyers, we pay a good referral fee. So you just keep us in mind.
Yeah. Duly noted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the main crux of this podcast is to help out struggling agents with your kind of silver bullet, the thing that you think you do better than most, right? I won't say better than all because that's, it's kind of cocky.
Yeah.
But better than most, and what makes you who you are, what makes you a great agent, right? And so when I asked you this question, you gave me two answers. So I'll let you share those two things that you feel kind of set you apart and what makes you maybe just better at closing deals than others.
Yeah, so what I had mentioned first, and circling back slightly to this, I think it's just kind of the nature of my personality. I told you my dad was a realtor for 25 years, or about 25. My mom is still a high-producing travel agent. She's done that for 30, both in sales, both exceptional at what they did, and I think that I just kind of organically have that in me. But what it comes down to is being able to, a silver bullet, that I don't think there is one, but being the most well-rounded. What I would tell you is being able to be pliable to so many different personalities that you run into in a market, and all these personalities want to buy and sell a house, right?
Yeah.
And being able to identify who you're working with and what your goal is in so many instances is building rapport and how quick can I relate to an individual, and you're not trying to be fake or front or put on a applause, but I mean to be able to relate to them and speak their language in a way that they're going to be able to understand, digest, and reciprocate that is we kind of mentioned the DISC profile chart, DISC. noticing ways to identify the person you're talking to and making it your communication kind of tailored to their organic personality, I think is a big one. And that's one that I think that I excel at.
Yeah. So let's pause for a second, because you and I understand what you just said, but there might be some people that don't quite grasp it. So if you're listening to this, guys, what he's referring to is, if you don't understand that you don't get along with certain people, or you don't just jive with certain people, it's more than likely because they have a different personality strength, right? And when you mentioned DISC, it's a personality test. If you've never done one, guys, you need to go do one. You can find free ones on the internet, but you need to understand that there's 4 main types of personalities. There's the Enneagram test. There's all these different things that are, there's way more than 4. But in the business world, DISC, the D is like a dominant personality. The I is gregarious, somebody that can work a room, talk to anybody. S and C kind of fall within that organizational, caring, they put others before themselves type of stuff, right?
Yeah, they're kind of, the S and C are actually more, they call them like a dolphin is the video that sticks in my head to it. But they're kind of, I'll put it in my words. D and I, you want to be direct, concise, to the point, numbers driven, specific, cut the fluff, and kind of speak with confidence. S and C, you can tie that more to, you got to relate to them. You got to be, I am kind of naturally kind of bubbly and personable, if you will, but they're playing into their emotions. Yeah.
And if you do a DISC test, Tony Robbins has a good one. It'll tell you like where you're at with everything, but it also, if you do one with the intention of like, I need to know how to talk to these types of personalities, he'll actually like explain, here's how you appeal to people with a high D, high I, that type of thing. So it's really educational, but I think that's a huge part, because I tell my team all the time, like, people don't work with you because you sold the most amount of homes or your marketing or whatever the hell we like to think, right?
What they know, like, and trust.
Correct. And the only way you can get there is to be able to relate with them, because they might trust you. They might trust that, hey, your team crushes it. 30 million between the two of you, awesome numbers. Like, we have no doubts. And they might know you because you're everywhere on social media, right? But then you sit down and you're like, that guy's a douche, because you were trying to be analytical when they wanted emotion. Or vice versa, right? Someone's like, this guy wasted my time. I just wanted numbers, and you're talking to me about your life story. That's where I think a lot of people struggle, because they come in and they're like, I'm just going to be myself, which is important, but there's different versions of yourself that you need to show off, right? And it's the chameleon part of this, where it's like, you got to be able to make people feel comfortable. And so I'm assuming you would echo that that's something that you feel is very important to building that rapport, right?
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, we talked about this a little beforehand, but top of the funnel and lead gen opportunity is like the cure to all of this. But when you do get the at bat and you do have the opportunity to seal the deal on business or convert that next client, we're talking about, we're not in the line here to buy a hamburger at McDonald's. These are high ticket items, and these mistakes, if you don't capitalize on the opportunity, can be tens of thousands of dollars. So just, your batting average, if you will, of conversion it really adds up.
Yeah, for sure. And before, like, we're not going to move on to the next topic, but for those of you listening, we're going to talk about the DISC stuff for maybe 10 minutes or so, because I want him to give us some hacks as to like how he's maybe identifying these things, and maybe just some tips and tricks for just talking to certain people. But the next thing also is just coming up with more of a prospecting routine, right? Like, you're really a habit type person. It sounds like you stay committed to your time blocking. You dial in on the stuff that moves the needle, right?
Yeah.
So we'll touch on that next. But let's go back to the disc for a minute. So just, talk about, maybe if you were to give advice to anybody listening, like, I think it makes sense in their minds, like, well, yeah, I can try to like identify them and try to relate better with them. But like, are there any things that are kind of like your go-to to building better rapport? Is there anything that jumps out to you?
In building better rapport, once again, when you say this, it kind of, you're not trying to fake it. You're not trying to, front or be somebody you're not. But at the same time, like, a little bit of a chameleon in the aspect of mimicking body language. And if they have a lot to say, you can kind of lean into S&C and be more bubbly, charismatic, talk more, have more to, kind of back and forth with them. Whereas, on the other aspect of things, if they stand like a soldier, if they walk with a certain, tonality to it and are direct and concise and to the point, I try to mimic that.
Right.
But still, getting across the points and the questions and whatnot that you need to be asking and to lead the conversation in the right direction.
Wouldn't you say, like, to me, when I really think about rapport and the chameleon and all these things of just like relating to people, wouldn't you just say it comes down to like, do you care or not? Right?
Yeah.
Because like, you're not trying to be someone you're not, but it's like, if you come across somebody who, so many times I will be in a listing appointment with a seller and it's emotional. They're
100%,
crying.
100%.
I'm crying. Like, seriously, I will tear up with them, right? And it's not because I'm trying to fake it.
Yeah.
It's because I truly care about what they're telling me right now. But I think some people are like, oh, I don't want it to get emotional. So if someone starts to tear up, they like kind of move away from that topic, right? I lean in because I'm like, they're sharing stuff with me that's like very meaningful to them about their house, raising their kids there, maybe an unfortunate event that happened in the home that's caused them so much trauma, all this stuff, right? It's like, you can say what you want about, oh, you're just faking it and like trying to make sure that they know you care and stuff like that. No, it's like, I do care. And I think unless you actually care about people, you're not going to be able to build rapport in the way that you're referring to. So like, I know we can get really deep on disc and understanding people, but it just, to me, sounds like you just care about making sure that when you're speaking a language to somebody, that's their preferred language, right?
Yeah. And sorry if I didn't address that.
Listen to him say sorry again. That's that northern, say that shit again.
Sorry.
He's like, sorry.
Really hitting the O's.
Sorry.
Minnesota.
You say soaking or sopping?
Soaking.
Oh, damn. I thought you were going to go sopping.
No.
Sopping's definitely like an up north thing.
Yeah, no sopping.
Okay, good. All right. Anyway, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah, you do have to. I mean, I don't address that as directly as you just mentioned it, solely because I think there's so many people, I don't care what their personality is, they can, especially nowadays with how much marketing and stuff is shoved down people's throat. Pardon my French, but they can smell bullshit from a mile away.
For sure.
So many people can read.
They don't want to be sold to.
They don't want to be sold to. They don't want, like, they can tell if you're playing games.
Right.
And at the end of the day, do we want to sell them a house and transact with them? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But you also, I mean, that's far down the line from where we're talking about in building rapport and gaining their trust and looking out for their best interest. Because as you also mentioned, there's so many emotions with somebody's home. I've been here for 20, 30 years. I have to sell it because I have to. I don't want to.
Yep.
Some people are in a tough financial
They need
position.
the money.
They need the money. And also, oh, I'm paying you all this money? Well, I don't want to pay you that much.
Right.
And there, God, there's just so many things that come about with it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, caring for somebody, in my mind, caring for their best interest and helping them through that process, start to finish, that almost goes without saying because that's like the default. That's like square one. But
it's not the default.
Yeah.
Like for people like you and
for a lot
it
of
is.
people, yeah,
But
I
for
get
a
it.
lot of people, man, they just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys that are listening, like just spend time with your clients. Like I know so many agents that will do appointments in like 30 minutes. And I'm just like, I mean,
Dude,
that's noble. That's noble. Like, cool. You saved a lot of time, I
Yeah.
guess. But like, you cannot understand someone's situation in 30
Yeah.
minutes, no matter what you think.
Yeah.
You don't know the half of what's going on.
Yeah.
I can never get out of these listing appointments less than an hour and a half, 2 hours most times.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the first appointment. I do 2.
Yeah.
The people that are like, I do all of them in 1 and it takes me 45 minutes. I'm like, you're never going to get a referral from this person ever because they don't even know you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's hilarious that you say that, because that is that is me as well. When I get that invite for a listing appointment, which is like the holy grail of our business,
Yes.
dude, I try to schedule that into my calendar. Like, this should take about 90 minutes, and I think I have a little wiggle room with that. Like every time, I'm when I get in there, I mean, we get comfy, we're chilling. I'm sitting on the couch or something, having just a long-winded conversation, because and that all comes down to you're building rapport and learning about their situation and how you're going to be able to best serve them.
Right.
And even going back to this real quick, the D and the I's of the world, when they loosen up a bit and they feel that they can trust you and there's rapport there, they open up and
they want to chat.
And when I start asking questions and they really get into it, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No, and I get sick and tired of the agents out there kind of pushing this agenda of like, oh, you should only be doing 1 appointment and it should be under 60 minutes and what I'm just like, it takes 30 minutes to do the paperwork, guys. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing out there, but I'm just calling bullshit on the entire industry, because it's like, that's not reality. Reality is, hey guys, budget 2 hours. It's going to be 3. Like my clients, I'm like, about an hour. That's what I'll tell them. But like, it could be more. It just depends. It's always more.
Yeah.
But if it's less, I didn't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like we just didn't connect, and we both, like, without saying it, just like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, respect your time and respect your spouse's time or whatever, or your kids' time. But at the same time, like, don't do this job unless you're willing to like actually care about people.
That listing appointment is the most important thing you're going to do in that day.
Yes.
Barring personal, I get it. You have
in your
personal
business,
life.
it's the most important thing.
Yeah, I don't prospecting, this, that, and the other thing. Bar none, the most important is walking in that house and sitting down.
It takes me 5 hours. I am staying there.
Yeah, you crush that day.
You know, even if it's like someone's like, what if it's a cheap house? Like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's you're helping them because it's bigger than the one house, right? It's the referrals. It's you're changing someone's life. There's all these things.
That goes back to caring, like caring about people's circumstances. Some people, $1 million to one person is $200,000 to the next guy, and who are you to judge or dictate or have sway your process of operation and personality and way you conduct business to a price point that's going to bite you in the long run.
Yeah, and it's I think for people listening, again, I haven't met Alex. But the fact that we align on some of these things and we both sell a lot of houses should tell you something. Like, these things are important. That there's obviously millions of ways to do this business, but I think what you're never going to really be able to build a business without is caring, taking time with people, and then relating to them. If you rush through it, like, you might still get the listing, but it's just there's gonna be shit down the road. You didn't set the proper expectations. They don't feel like that they trust you. They don't, you know what I mean? There's just all these things.
You miss something that you should have mentioned in the beginning, and all of a sudden,
I load up my time up front, and then I spend way less time with them down the road because they just know what's going on.
Yep.
You know. Before we move on to the routines and prospecting, which I think is probably even more important in my opinion, anything else you want to leave us with when it comes to personality, building rapport, just anything else that like is your go-to that people should know? If not, that's okay. I know we covered a lot of ground.
Yep. I can't say anything that comes to mind in specific unless you led me in the direction of what you...
If it pops up...
Yeah, I'll circle back.
Yeah, let's circle back. I just didn't want to end it without giving you a chance to maybe add something else in. But no, I think we covered a lot of ground there, and super important. Just you guys know that there's different personalities, and you got to come at them in different ways. I actually funny just like little part of this, because I really understand this a lot. I used to, and I don't really know why we don't anymore. We're probably going to start doing this. I think it was more of a systematic thing. It just didn't work, right? But we would send a survey ahead of time asking people, this is for our second appointment. We do a 2-step. So a lot of agents do a 1-step. We do a 2-step. So we'd go out there, we'd meet them, all that stuff, right? Then for the second appointment, we would send a survey and we would ask them, hey, how do you feel you want the next appointment to go? And it was basically like, I want a thorough analysis of my house. I want to know all the marketing, and I want to understand whatever, and I'm not signing paperwork. That was one of the options. And then it was like 7 other things. The bottom one was like, don't need to know anything. Love Tyler, let's sign. Right? And like, yeah. And people would choose that one. And so like the reason why I did that, it's like, I got to know how I need to go into this.
Yeah.
Right? Did they, the analytical people, they ain't checking that last box. Right? It's like, they're checking the first one, or maybe the second one. They're like, I'm open to signing. It also set the expectation too of like, we're signing.
Yeah.
But like, I think that was really important, because I just knew what they wanted. Some people would be like, there was an option that was like, we don't need to know anything about the marketing, but please go deep on the analysis. And so like, now I just know I don't need to speak a different language to them. Right? Because if I start talking about marketing and they don't give a shit about it, I'm just wasting their time. And then they start to get annoyed. Right? So I think that's a tip I would give people. Like, feel free to send like a text before, like the day before. Like, hey, I just want to make sure like we value your time and we use it to the best of our ability. Which option would you choose?
Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes they choose number 7.
Yeah.
And it's like, just sign.
I thought of one real quick. Now circling back to is there any more that you would tie to this as you mentioned to that? And I can't say that I've gone to the extent of sending them anything like that and whatnot, but like playing to their personality and what's important to them. An absolute if there was a silver bullet in a listing appointment, a question I'd love to ask is, I don't care what their personality is, but at one point, usually in the beginning, because you can kind of tailor the conversation to their answer, but directly look at them and ask them, what is important in the agent that you choose to represent you? And how they answer that question, or what, essentially you're getting across the point of what's important to them, how do they envision this going, play to that, because it's tailoring to their wants and needs, and that's been really beneficial for me.
In our appointment 1 checklist, we have a checklist on our phones that we go through. One of the questions that's required for the agents to ask is, what are your expectations of me as your realtor?
Yep.
And that's the exact reason why, because it brings out the objections that they've had with the previous agents maybe, or their past experiences. Like, well, gosh, I just want somebody that communicates. So now I can talk about communication for 5 minutes and they love it.
Yep.
Where if they don't give a shit about communication, they're like, just make me the most amount of money. Well, let's talk about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's a great question. If you're not asking that question, guys, you need to ask that question for sure. And there's many ways to ask it, but those are 2. But moving on to routines, habits, the prospecting side of this business, which is your job, agents. It's your job. Sorry, there's no other way around it. Alex is getting choked up just thinking about it. So it means so much to him.
I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, he's so passionate about it. He's just choking on it over there. So talk to me about, like, what does your routine look like for success? What are you doing that you're seeing really, really works, and what are your like non-negotiables in your schedule that like you have to be doing every day or every week?
Yep. So that has, in my illustrious 3 years in the business, that through trials and tribulations, kind of errors and learning from my mistakes, what I realized, I noticed this right away in the beginning, is you're in the beginning of this business, you're not a realtor, in my opinion. I've always said this to myself is in the beginning, and I just kept this on repeat. You're not a realtor, you're a prospector. Because if you never generate the business, you're never going to get to be a realtor of showing houses, writing offers, negotiating, all the things. So it's the foundation of your business and being able to thrive in what you got going on. So really was centered in trying to generate business. And to be honest with you, don't let me fool you like I was walking on water here in the beginning. I came from a corporate structure, and all of a sudden I'm self-employed, and I have a business partner, but he's very loose with things. He's there when I need him.
Yep.
He's not a dictator in any fashion, and I could have very well failed.
Yep.
I could have ran out of money, sank. I almost did. I'll give you the number. I am a planner and concise with things, and I'm proud of it now. It was very stressful in the beginning, but I saved up $25,000 and got down to $3,000 about 6 to 8 months into it, and all of a sudden, like the light at the end of the tunnel came, and my business and prior efforts started to steamroll, and it just and it started to work for me. So a lot of that problem in the beginning was I didn't have a system, and I didn't know what my best use of time was.
Right.
And I was kind of a fish flopping out of water in the beginning, going from corporate structure, they tell you everything what to do, to self-employed. The world is your oyster.
And no one's holding you accountable, except for Joe at times, I'm sure. But for the most part, he's got his own business, right?
Yeah, he's very loose with it, and everybody runs their business a little bit differently, but he's great with guidance, very insightful,
problem solver,
huge problem solver, and as I mentioned, kind of a can do it, one man army mentality. Yeah. So I can lean into him in so many instances for insight, but at the end of the day, if I wasn't going to produce, I was not going to make it.
Right.
He helps me out with, dishing me some leads here and there and whatnot. Yeah. But at the end of the day, a majority of my business is self-generated, right? Yeah. And all that to say, getting my feet off the ground in the beginning was fantastic. It took 6-8 months, and then once I got into that for the next year, I fell into this vicious cycle of prospect, get a bunch of business going, stop doing the prospecting, go to maintaining the deals that you got in the pipeline, showing how things, writing offers, listing photos, signs, yada.
Right.
And your prospecting would fall to the wayside, and then you get these deals under contract, and you weren't doing the prospecting in the meantime.
Yeah.
And now you're back to square one, and it's just bunch of money, no money, bunch of money, no money.
Yep.
And
the peaks and valleys, man.
I will tell you that I'm still not perfect at this, but I can fully recognize it, and I've improved on it greatly to as busy as your days can get with showing houses and appointments and all of these things that come with deals and dollars flowing. You still got to religiously lock in a certain time frame in your calendar to say, I'd be curious to know what your opinion of it is, also dictated on how much volume you want to produce. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for a 10 to 12 million kind of guy, not a monster, also respectable in my opinion. Yeah. I think if you can lock in at least 5 days a week to religiously top of the funnel 2 hours a day, whatever, there's so many ways to generate business, but whatever you find your niche to be, if you can do 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, 10 hours total, all the time, I think 10 to 12 million is completely realistic. That's solely my personal opinion and my experience in this business thus far. Yeah. But
no, I 100% agree with that. And for the longest time, and I still ultimately at the end of the day feel this way, but for the longest time, I wouldn't even entertain a part-time agent. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. Anybody that had another job, I'm just like, it's just you guys, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But
dude, hold on. Sorry to cut you off real quick, but circling back to when I told you I was trying to talk Joe into let me be on his team. Yeah. I was scared to jump off the cliff. Are you kidding me? It's here's all my brokerage fees. I have a pretty affordable mortgage. But essentially, with my brokerage fees and realtor and everything, I was going to double my cost of living. I have zero guaranteed income. I have to get my own health insurance.
Yeah.
And all these things. I was like,
And you don't have a sugar mama.
yeah, I ain't got no sugar mama. So I was like, can I be part-time with you? Can we do this? Like, I want to, I could be kind of your TC, but also learn the real estate side. He's like, yeah, no, you're full-timer. I'm not taking you.
I love Joe. Joe, you're awesome.
I was sick.
Because honestly, it's the best thing he probably forced you to do. But
Probably, yeah.
I have changed my tune over the last year on this because of what you just broke down is like what it's the truth. And so when we think full-time, I think we're like, I have this sign right here. It says, I'd rather work 100 hours for myself than 40 hours for somebody else. So I think a lot of people are like, hey, you got to work 100 hours a week, 8 hours a week, whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, if you're slinging deals 10 to 12 million, you're going to be working 60-hour weeks probably. But your job, like we talked about, is prospecting. So like if you really think about it, a full-time agent probably prospects, and most agents don't prospect, by the way. Even people crushing it, they just get referrals and whatever. But if you're actually like working it, you're prospecting it, it's probably like 1 to 3 hours a day. That 2 hours is about right because you got an hour for like current shit you're working on, and then you want about an hour or two of new business you're going after, right? So if you really break it down, a full-time agent is about 10 to 15 hours a week. And so that's why I started to change my tune of when I'm meeting with agents. I'm like, I don't think you should have another job because ultimately it's going to get in the way of showings and all this other stuff, right? But
that would never work. Thinking back on it now, I totally agree. Like this job in this industry is so hard in the beginning. If you don't burn the boats and take the island,
you're going to fall back.
You're going to fall back like 99% chance.
It takes the right personality to not fall back, but most don't have that in them. But I have personally seen like people that started out with another job like a couple days a week in the evenings, right? And I'm like, well, you'll be able to show houses for the 7 days, whatever. You should be fine, but you got to commit to this prospecting stuff. And then all of a sudden they start to get business. And they're like, holy shit, I can quit my other job. And now they're doing great. And it's just because you can't flex on that, your job part, which is the prospecting. You are a prospector. I think that's the best way to look at it. Like, you're not a realtor. You're a realtor when you're out driving around showing houses and all that stuff. But that doesn't happen unless you prospect. And so, like, I just met with an agent on my team. We do like a review every like 30 days when they're in their initial 90 days on our team. And she was very overwhelmed with like, she's just not getting a lot done, right? And we're like, what's the problem? She's like, there's just so much I want to do, and like our plan has like 10 tasks a week on it that they really should try to do. And I'm like, okay, and I understand how that's can be a lot, but if you really just tell yourself all you got to do is work 3 hours a day, that's all you got to do. And then the rest of it is a byproduct that will eventually come, and then you're going to have to change your lifestyle and your schedule and all that stuff. But just dial in and prospect, make those calls, send those texts,
stack it in the morning.
Yeah, stack it in the morning between 9 and noon. That's exactly what I told her. I'm like, 9 to noon, you're just going to dominate. You're going to go beast mode every day. And then 2 months from now, you're going to wake up and you're going to have like 6 deals in the pipeline, like that are like people you're actively working with. You got a few listing appointments next month or what. You're going to be there. And so I just think that that's a really good mentality to have that you've taken on of just like religiously do my job. The rest of it will take care of itself.
Let me not front. Like, I'm not trying to give a false perception here again. Like, even people far better and more disciplined than myself still fall in and out of this process, but like you get more and more conscious of it and you recognize that you're hurting future you.
You're the problem.
You're the problem, and you need to recognize that. And in some cases, like, life happens and things just come and go. It's really hard to be in the mental state of calling 100 people and having them tell you to kick rocks. When you have other stuff going on, but like, or what I personally do a lot, I enjoy I'm too high strung after a while to sit at a desk and my back hurts from calling and stuff, I'd rather go door knocking.
Yeah.
And very relatable to cold calling or door knocking. The hardest one is the first like 3 to 5 when you get out of the car, the first 3 to 5 calls you make. And once you just kind of shake the dust loose and get rolling to it, it just gets easier.
Yeah. And God, there's so much stuff we could talk about, but like I've always been sphere-based, social media, lots of easier leads.
Yep.
I never did really well at internet leads, Zillow, that type of stuff. I tried it early on.
They're tough.
It wasn't for me. We have people on my team that crush those leads, and but I also was operating with horrible scripts. Not that you can script any call, but like, I think we psych ourselves out a little bit. Like if the average person you're calling, like I don't know who you call, but like, so most of our database is people that have inquired about a real estate home. Like they want to buy a house. They're looking at a house online, right?
Yep.
That script is so freaking easy, and I was making it so complicated. Like, you just call them up. Yeah. You just be like, hey, you were looking at houses a year ago on my website in Blaine for $300,000. Did you buy a house yet? That's the script. But like, we psych ourselves out. We're like, what are they gonna say? Like, they're probably gonna be like, we bought a house already, jackass. You should have called me 6 months ago. That's what they're gonna say. And then I got agents on my team now. They'll be like, hey, well, congratulations. Like, that's amazing. Well, I got you. Do you know anybody else looking to buy or sell? Like, they're just relentless. I love it. And and like, I just think if you find the one or two type of leads or people you're willing to talk to, like, there's so much opportunity out there. If you have Vulcan 7 or some sort of dialer, I mean, circle prospecting around just sold listings is incredibly easy. So like, there's so many easy scripts now that I just didn't know about early on, that I just looked like a moron calling these people. And so I just think we got to get out of our own way and find the one or two things that are like easy and do that. If it's I want to do podcasts, do a fucking podcast. Do it. Like, you don't need all this shit. Just do one. You can do online home buyer workshops once a month with a lender partner. Like, pick your prospecting tool and just commit to it. And yeah, no one's perfect, right? This week I had a bunch of shit going on. I prospected today and Monday. That was it. But next week I'll probably do better. And like, you just can't fall into that hole of, it's been a month since I prospected because I'm so far behind. You know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get back to work, because ain't nobody gonna care if you fall out of this business. Like, you're in it for yourself. You know. So I love the way you broke that down, and I think anybody listening, it's like, you guys, it's not 80 hours a week. It's 2 to 3 hours a day. That's your job. Everything else, kind of, it's like Tom Ferry. You know what Tom Ferry is?
Oh yeah. Plenty of Tom Ferry in my first year or two. I mean, he's
the best.
Oh yeah,
he's the best. But he described it one time as like loading up your slingshot. When you're prospecting in the morning, you're loading up that slingshot for the day. And then if you do it right, it just takes off, right? But you know what? Also enjoy the days too, where you're like, well, I prospected. I don't got shit to do later. I'm just going to go for a walk and hang out. Like, enjoy those days. You did your job. It will work. But I think we all get so stressed and anxious and like, you know, I've been in this long enough that the anxiety doesn't go away, guys. It will never go away because there's always more opportunity that we feel like we can go after. And there's always something better we could be doing with our time. So you just got to also like just chill. Like, just, it's going to be okay.
Trust in the process.
Trust the process.
That, like, you have compounding interest that will eventually, as long as you stick to it.
Just don't stop.
It'll steamroll and eventually snowball down the hill into a avalanche. Yeah,
it will. It's incredible. But okay. Well, I want to get into our lightning round questions. Right. So I have some overrated, underrated questions for you. So I'll give you a term, and then you just tell me overrated or underrated, and then maybe why.
Sure.
You could say why if you want, or you just be like, no, it's overrated. But give me your 2 cents on it. I'll give you an easy one to start. Are you ready?
Ready.
Dirt biking and motocross.
Underrated.
Absolutely underrated.
Underrated.
So like,
toughest sport in the world.
Yeah. So like, tell me, like, do you do it competitively, or do you just like go out there and just like hit jumps and just for fun?
I used to race really competitively throughout like my younger years, middle school, high school. Got into college, parents stopped paying for it, and that kind of fell to the wayside. But I still ride casually now, like still dirt bike tracks and race and jumping type of thing. But I was very competitive back when I was younger.
So, like, when you go out, are you racing, like, through the woods type of tracks? Are you, like, on the big course with the jumps and stuff like that?
Yeah, big course. I'm not... Woods is called enduro.
Enduro.
Motocross is jumps and everything you see on
Yeah. Do you ever
racing.
get hurt?
Oh, yeah. I broke my left wrist 3 times and my right wrist 4 times. So, yeah, I'm going to be like a T-Rex one day, but... Yeah.
Good thing we have AI to like write all of our stuff, our contracts now. You're not going to be able to use your hands after a while.
There you go.
And is that where you like met Joe, like to be your realtor back in the day? Was he like out at a motocross event or something? Or?
No, thankfully he was diligent with getting online reviews, and I just found him through locally searching realtors online, and he had a good presence of reviews, and found him that way. And it coincidentally, I after the fact found out
he's into motocross.
He's into motocross.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
it's like destiny.
Yeah, I mean, what's meant to be will be.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So really just a quick sidebar. I had an agent on my team that her husband had a few like motocross bikes, and they lived on some acreage out in East Bethel. Mm-hmm. So we went out there one night for like just a team bonding, and I was like, yeah, I want to like, let's rip around on some bikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So dude, like he even warned me. He's like, you're going to like hit a little bump and then you're going to come down on the accelerator and you're going to pull back on it and you're going to lose control.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm fine, dude. I used to ride 4-wheelers and shit. I'm good. Like we're just hitting these little slalom type, whatever bumps. And I hit one and I came down and I
looped it.
Dude, you just kind of panic. Like you're just like, like all I should have done is just let go of the accelerator, but I'm just pulling back. And I finally just like tip it, you know? And I'm like, anybody, like no one was around. I'm like, that didn't happen. And then like I see my assistant at the time come up behind me. She does the same shit. She just goes flying through the woods.
Really?
And then another team member, same thing, but she came through towards the house and literally ran the motocross bike into their gas meter.
Oh my gosh.
We got it on camera. It was, I was like, the house almost exploded because of you.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this all happened on the same day. My wife, same thing. She's going over these jumps and just like sends it. She starts dragging behind the motorcycle, like hanging on and like hits a tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we're not going to do this sport ever again. This was not a good outing, but it was fun until it wasn't.
Yeah. Imagine like real quick on the aspect of in the start of motocross race, a full gate is 40 guys. Oh. Can you imagine 40 guys?
Just getting out of the gate has to be a victory.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why we're getting deep on this real quick. But to give you the perspective, I have never experienced anything in my life as much of a mental focus. Nothing else in the world matters. You're just in total zen in the moment when it's called you pulled the whole shot when you're the first guy out of the corner. There is nothing like the gate drops, 40 guys go, and I haven't done it a million times, but the handful of times I have done it, you're going as fast as humanly possible, knowing that you have 39 guys behind you, and if you crash, you are guaranteed to get run over.
Right.
And you're still trying to go as fast as possible and make it happen. Like, you're so reactive and in the moment, it's insanity. The rush that you get from that.
Oh, the rush would be insane. Yeah. So when you broke your wrist, was it always coming down off of a jump, or did you get run over one time, or?
It was landing into the face of the next jump and like the shock of it. Yeah. A couple of them, I tucked the front end and like you're flying through the air and you put your hand out to catch your fall, and that did it.
Were they like bad breaks, or was it just like?
Yeah, I had a few like 3-inch pins and whatnot, putting this one back together, and the same with this. And then I still in both wrists, I have bones that are just kind of floating around in there.
Oh yeah.
So that's fun.
So I broke my left wrist in football, and it was nothing like that. I didn't have to get any pins in, but I still can't do push-ups comfortably with my hand. I have to do knuckle push-ups. That's I don't know. I don't know why that is, but like this wrist it just hurts.
Yeah.
After putting all that pressure on it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's frustrating.
Right now, I work out 4 or 5 days a week, and fortunately, I still have all my mobility, and I push up, pull up, whatever it is.
That's because you're cheating. You're like a robot in there.
Yeah.
This is all natural, baby.
Right.
No, but it's I feel your pain a little bit on the wrist thing.
Yeah. Not fun.
All right, next one. Minnesota sports. Just in general, the sports teams.
Yep.
Overrated, underrated.
I'm going to go ahead and say overrated.
Why do you say overrated?
Because I don't care about any of them.
I was just going to say, I'm guessing you're not a sports guy. Usually they don't go together.
Yeah.
Motocross doesn't go with other things.
Yeah, no.
You're like hunting, fishing, motocross.
Yeah.
Right?
Which honestly, I think ties pretty well into real estate. But my biggest hobby is deer hunting and motocross, which is two individualized sports. Baseball, basketball, football. I'll go to the events and it's fun for the ambiance, but I'm just personally not into it.
Yeah.
Not for me.
That's just what people that aren't athletic say. I'm just kidding.
Debatable.
I'm just kidding. No, like I can respect it, man. My dad, we grew up on some acreage. We did like, hunting with like BB guns, and my dad would pheasant hunt, and I shot a female pheasant one time because I couldn't find the males to shoot.
Yeah, got sick of it.
And I like winged it, and then I like watched it flop around for a while before it died, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this sport. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
I'm more of like I see a spider and I carry it outside type of guy.
Okay. Yeah. I hear
like,
ya.
but I can respect it. Like I understand the rush and like the pursuit and like which kind of coincides with hunting and real estate.
Yeah. Yes.
We actually we have a lead pond. We actually call it the Pride Lands, and then the leads are called gazelles.
Okay.
And we're lions.
Of course.
Like dead serious is what it says in our CRM. It's just what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
All right, next one. And I didn't know if you did any of this type of stuff, but it sounds like you did. So I'll be curious your take on this. Investment properties.
Epic.
Yeah.
Overrated, underrated. It's underrated.
For sure.
It's underrated. I heard a statistic that I think this was Tom Ferry actually, but like it's a fraction of a percent. It's like 3% of realtors actually invest in real estate. It's a very small number compared to those that just transact. But I have personally seen the fruits of your labor with that to say, because at the end of the day, my whole goal and vision with this is creating financial freedom. And you can make a ton of money just in commissions, right?
Yep.
But in my opinion, at the end of the day, you're still on a hamster wheel.
Yep.
I've taken a lot of time to learn the Burr method of investing in distressed properties, and I've helped and guided a lot of other people through it. I've experienced it myself, and I've also seen other people find success in it. And for example, the one I did personally start to finish was in St. Paul, 130. Yeah, it was 130,000. Put about 40 into it, and so 170. The ARV on that's like 230.
Perfect.
So could refi out of that. Haven't done that just yet because we don't have the rates for it. But
but you'll be able to pull your money back out
when the time comes. Can pull my money back out, and it's cash flowing like $700 a month right now.
Yeah.
So and then fast forward that. In the aspect of my partner, Joe, I manage his rental portfolio, which is far exceeding mine. But you eventually, when you decide you don't want to chase the next deal and, you decide to pursue other things in life, you can fall back on this rental portfolio of quote unquote, it's not passive at the end of the day. There is still management to it, but it's as close as I can personally get to passive income. And with the right strategy implemented in the beginning, it will pay you for essentially the forever future.
Yeah. It took me a while to figure this out, but about, 5 years ago, I really understood that like passive income is the key to happiness.
For sure.
It just is.
For sure.
Nothing else, because like think about it. Retirement, ooh, that's happiness. But what is it? Passive income. It's you don't have to work for it. It's coming to your fucking mailbox, and then Like that's why people are happy, because they don't have to work. They don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's one of the reasons for our brokerage change too, to like come to EXP and have another way for passive income. Like it just, there's nothing else that I care about at this point in my business other than figuring out more ways to sell homes, help change lives, and find more passive income. Like you got to use it, because otherwise you'll be 70 years old slinging home still on that hamster wheel, right? Trying to chase it. And you're right. Most people, when you ask realtors, what's your retirement plan? They're like, well, buy a few rental properties. Have you bought any yet? No.
Yeah. And there's a compounding interest to that when you do it earlier than later.
Yep.
Like for sure, it's just you will see the fruits of your labor sooner if you do it.
You just got to do it, man.
Yeah,
It's scary. The first one I did, I'm like,
yeah.
We'll see how this goes. But yeah, it's been great, and yeah, it's just really nice to not have to go chase a listing every day to survive. You just do it now because you care, because you want to, because you love it, right? It's just different.
Yeah, I'm not to that point yet, but
well, you will be
with the process of operation that I'm implementing. That will be a foreseeable future.
Yep, you will be. But then there'll be bigger opportunities.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh yeah.
There's always something. Overrated, underrated listing presentations.
Underrated.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I think it's very underrated. I do think when you get to a certain point, which will be maybe a few more years, you want to have it, but you won't use it as often because the people that you're sitting with will like just know that you kick butt.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you always want to have it, but there's a lot of people that just don't have one.
Yep.
You know, they just roll in and hey, I'm Tyler. Let's list the home.
Yeah.
But yeah, very underrated, I believe. Let's see here. This is not overrated. This is one or the other. In office working or at home working?
In office, undoubtedly.
Yep.
You need to be I lock myself in my office and just focus, like limit distractions, get in there and get your stuff done.
I agree. I was always at the office the first 8 years of my career. Like no one else is in the office. We're there every day grinding our butts off, you know. So important. Okay, buyer consultation, overrated, underrated?
Right about now in our industry, it's going to be very underrated.
Very underrated, yeah. I think it's way more important than a listing presentation. Even the listing presentations are obviously very important.
Yeah.
If you don't do a buyer consult with people, like holy cow. Like you're in for a world of hurt when they want to write that offer and you're like trying to explain things to them on the fly and stuff like that. Holy cow. It's a lot.
Yeah. I'll say I don't do it as much as I should, if you will. I do have a system that I believe still works, but that the landscape is about to change, so I'm going to have to change with that.
Yep.
But I do think I do pretty well in first impressions of showings and walking through the home, and just kind of I educate along the way while we're having fun seeing this house.
Yep. And there's times you got to do that. You know, if things are moving really quick.
Yeah.
And they just can't get together for a meeting for whatever reason. I've told my agents to start like recording like the 10 steps to buy a house, summarizing it up into like 10, 15 minutes, and then just having that so you can at least send ahead of time. But like those buyer consults easily take an hour or more.
Yeah.
To like really go through everything. So, but yeah. Let's see here. Days off in your business. Do you know what that is? You know what a day off is?
Yeah, for sure.
They overrated or underrated?
I sure do. Underrated. Underrated because if you're really grinding, you can burn yourself out and you aren't performing at your best after a while.
Yep.
And like a reset of I don't personally really, I mean, depending what's going on in my personal life, I don't think I ever take a full day off, but I surely will on a regular basis get a couple hours for me in my day. And that's just part of the entrepreneurial journey of I gotta stretch and eat and do my praying in the morning and go to the gym. And once all that's set aside and I'm in the zone, let's tackle business.
Yep. Yeah. My advice to you would be to get a set day off.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you. Like, my day off is Wednesdays. I will work on Wednesdays every now. I mean, like, throughout the day. It's gonna be really, really hard for me to not do like anything related to real estate. It's just part of who I am at this point. But I think having a day where you're like, I don't take appointments and I am at my house, and like knowing that I could sleep in if I want. I could play video games today, or I could go hunting. I could do whatever I want, and
allow yourself.
Just like have it. And the reason I chose Wednesdays is like when you grind as hard as people like us do, you do like you need that. Because it's like I will work, I'll work all day, right? And it's like if I don't just tell myself like, nope, tomorrow you get time to like chill. I will get like kind of disgruntled and like when do I get some time for me? And you know what I mean? So like I think it's one of the biggest things that like no agent has like the courage to take a day off. It's like it's gonna be okay. Yeah, your clients will respect you for it. I promise. Yeah, it has been the best thing I've ever done. People want to work with me more because they know I respect my time and that like I have family and you know what I mean. Yeah. So, but yeah, when you're at your stage, I'm assuming no kids.
No kids. Yeah.
You can
solo dolo
work those in a little bit more whenever you need to. You know.
Yeah. And thinking of the year as a whole, and fortunately that our seasonality to the business kind of plays to it, but I surely take full days off in the late fall, like late October, November when I go deer hunting. There is a multitude of full days off that come with that, but it's also I allow myself to be okay with that, knowing that business will come and go without me, and I'm going to miss some opportunities. But I also grinded the last 10 to 11 months.
You earned it
to get to that point, and now this is me time. I'm going to go out in the woods and climb in this tree and.
Well, good. Yeah. Keep that mentality though, because a lot of agents don't have that mentality. They're like, no, I can't ever be off. I have to be around all the time, and I'm like, who are you? Superwoman, Superman? Like, come on. Everybody needs to chill.
You'll get burnt out.
So, let's see. Last one. I know you do this really well, so I think I know your answer, but social media. Now, I want you to answer this in two different forms because I'm just curious. Social media from a business perspective, and then social media in your personal life. Overrated, underrated. Start with business.
Underrated.
Okay. What about in personal life? Is it still underrated, or is it like, do you find joy in it?
Yes, it's still underrated, and I can't really. That's tough to give you an answer to differentiate them because my philosophy and also my partners would be you have to integrate both, and that's how you keep people engaged in what you have going on. Yes. Our ratio was kind of 2 personal, 1 business, 2 personal, 1 business. And nobody wants to just see a bunch of just listed, just sold. And, you know, you also have to keep them in tune with the business and the production you're doing and trends of the market and all these things. So they're kind of intertwined, working one and the same, kind of a yin and a yang.
Yes.
But thanks for noting. I think that there's always room for improvement on that, and my partner is way better than I am at the social media game, but he also does do like zero prospecting, and he's like, dude, if you don't social medias, and I think you're even more so, but if you aren't really consistent with it and keeping top of mind for people and whatnot, you're leaving money on the table in business you never knew that you were going to get, because it takes some time. People are cautious of it in the beginning because they're like, you weren't a realtor, you were this. Yeah. But, you know, there's a compounding interest, and eventually all of a sudden you get a DM out of the blue from somebody you haven't talked to in 3 years, and you're like, I know exactly why you're messaging me.
Absolutely.
And it's just, I got a buyer under contract for $515,000 like a week ago, and That was social media.
Hell yeah. Yeah. At this point in my life, anytime I hear the little messenger, the Facebook Messenger ding, it just might as well be a cash register, just cha-ching. Because it's like, that's what it is. I mean, no one's going to like comment on your stuff like, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
They will send you a private message. Like, hey, man, I've been following you for a while now. And like, I really need your help. And so I like the way that you answered that question because, I think at some point everybody gets a little sick of social media, like just in general.
I
like
do.
just, you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah,
and that's
I
what
do.
I was kind of leaning towards with like the personal overrated, underrated. Like if I wasn't in real estate, I would have Facebook, I would have Instagram, but I would have like 10 friends. And I would just only really care about
I would post like 3 times a year.
Right. But because of what we're in, we got to do it. And so I think it's like anything, the commitment to it gets to be a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
But your strategy is exactly what I tell everybody. I'll get people who are like, I need a business page and I need a personal page. I'm like, you do not. I remember telling this to agents 8 years ago on a stage at Edina Realty, and I was like, trying to like give them tips because everybody was into the business pages. And I'm like, you guys, nobody is going to like your business page. Nobody gives a shit about real estate, your real estate business, okay?
Yeah.
They care about you as a person. So you got 3,000 people that follow your personal page, but you're going to go make a whole other page and try to get all those people to like it.
Yeah.
It's never going to work. You're going to get like 300 people that like it. They don't even follow it. They probably mute it. Like, put it all on your personal page. Just put it all out there. This is a lifestyle. This is who you are, right?
Yeah.
And so you do that really well. A lot of people try to separate it, and I'm like, just stop. Like, you are a realtor.
Yeah.
This is your life.
Yeah.
Embrace it or get out.
Yeah.
Right? And so I like the way you answer that question. But last segment, last couple of minutes here, real estate market in general. What's your take on it right now? You know, what are you seeing out there?
It's really situational, I'll say. It's moving along better, in my personal opinion. It's moving along better with the current rate environment than we originally anticipated. Like, let's back this up to when rates were starting to climb at like 4%, right? There was a halt when
June of 2022.
Yep, exactly. There was a halt there when people started seeing like 5%. Now we're dreaming of 5%. But in the same breath, I've offered on multiple homes right now. I just, the experiential insight that I have is from 4 to, high 5s is I have a few buyers shopping in, and we've lost out in multiple offers opening weekend. And I have some listings about to come to the market that I hope that's the case for. But so long as they're marketed properly, a lot of the turnkey ones, like when I'm going into a listing appointment right now, preparation and a lot of times sellers are overwhelmed with the process ahead of time. But like I've personally seen if you got your ducks in a row and things are as, we're not reinventing the wheel to make this a new house, but show it in its best light, and the ones that are turnkey are still going like hotcakes. And I think people are just kind of getting accustomed to the current rate environment. They have a short memory, span, and things are still turning and burning. You kind of got to make hay while the sun shines right now, but it's still working. And I think, hopefully, as you started this podcast by saying, this is the worst of it, and if it only gets better from here, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, you never know, right? I would just describe this market right now as just weird. Just weird. And it's been weird for like 2 years. Yeah. But yeah, if you would have said, hey, 7.5% rates, and we're still going to be seeing multiple offers. Yep. Probably not. But we are.
It's happening.
Because there's no houses for sale.
Yep. There also, one more piece to that. I've seen some homes that are still, I think, maybe on the premium side of things priced, right? But if it was a turnkey property, but I think pricing is more critical now.
Yes, pricing and preparation is very, very key.
Yep, yeah.
Even if you're off by 10 grand, buyers are just like, And it's been that way for a while, but like especially right now when the payments are so much higher due to the rate, like to get them to really commit and fall in love, it's got to be the right budget for them too. So. Yeah, it's weird, and gosh, I can't even imagine what is going to happen when the rates do finally come down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be pure chaos.
I hope it's a madhouse.
It is. It's going to be because look at it right now,
Let's
man.
go.
Seriously, it's going to be chaos, and it's going to take the sellers about a year to figure out what the hell's going on. So we're going to have this period of time where it's just like a frickin' feeding frenzy. And it's because it's already almost there, and we're at crazy high rates compared to the average the last few years, right? And it's going to be a madhouse. And so I hope everybody's enjoying this little rest period that we're in because it's not going to be that way for very long. With the election year and all that stuff, like things are going to change here pretty dang quick. So
I feel like even if we got into the mid fives right now, we'd be partying.
In the mid fives, it would be utter chaos. It will be, people will be like burning the buildings
There would be
down.
lines out the door.
Oh my gosh, dude. Seriously. It's
2020 again.
It will be because like finally then sellers can rationalize in their minds.
Yeah.
Well, I have a 2.5% rate, 5.5%, like I could deal with that. But like, it's just that
Crippling it.
it's like you show an executive home to somebody and they're like, they don't even care about the price that much. They just want it to be under 900. So like if it's 901, they're like, I don't want to see it. If it's 899, they're like, I'll offer anything. It's just that mentality of like, I'm not going to trade my 2.5% rate for a 7.
Yeah.
But 2.5 to 5, like I could maybe reason with that. It's not crazy. 5 is more like the average, right? It's going to be a madhouse. So everybody that's sitting there right now waiting, all these buyers, all these sellers, like it's good luck. You know, it's like when I was telling them before during COVID, like, you guys buy a house. There's no better time to buy a house.
Yeah.
Well, but it's competitive and blah, blah, blah. Like, just buy a house, you guys. And nobody listened.
Yeah. They're gonna come back.
It's just the same thing. And then everybody's like, it's going to crash. It's like, dude, people have been saying it's going to crash next month for 12 years that I've been in this industry full time. Just, it's a supply and demand thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to crash, guys. I'm telling you, if COVID didn't take everything out, where a third to almost half of the population lost their job.
Yeah.
What's taking out the real estate industry other than another faulty loan type of environment, which we know does not exist? You know how hard it is to get a loan right now, and like it's very thorough.
Yeah. There's so much red tape after 08 that's just not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen. So, you know, there's dreamers and then there's doers, and there's right now I'd say about 80% of the population is a dreamer. And one day they'll wake up, maybe.
Yeah. You're trading off getting a lower rate for paying 5 to 10% over the list price to get it in multiple offers a year, 2 years down the road. Is in my opinion what the trade-off is, or the ultimatum of so many people saying, well, I'm waiting for the rate to come down. Okay, well, we're going to be...
Your payments aren't going to change that much.
We're going to be giving your firstborn child to get it, so...
And the price of the house is going to be substantially more.
Yeah.
Right? So are you really doing a whole lot? Like, I would rather be the one that gets the higher rate and then refinances and watches my home price go up $50,000 over the next 2 years. And be like, holy shit. I just made a lot of money. Like that's life changing right there. But otherwise, you're going to be the one that waits till the rates go down. You're going to overpay for the home. And then the appreciation is just, it's going to happen, but you've lost out on that big gain that happened when the rates dropped. So all of us investors should be buying houses right now, right? But we're not, because we don't follow our own advice sometimes.
Dude, if I find the right deal, I'm locked and loaded, ready for it, but it's just crunching the numbers and making it cash flow even a little bit right now.
It's tough.
It's a challenge.
It's tough. The last 2 I bought were commercial. That's been fun.
Okay.
That's been way better.
I've never dabbled.
It's just the tax incentives are insane. So that's why, like, the people that do commercial, they're smarter than all of us. Like the commercial realtors, the commercial investors. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, what are we doing over here, running around these residential things? So kudos to anybody out there doing commercial, because that's where it's just less emotional. There's more that you can do. There's about 4 ways you can get paid on one transaction. Like it's a smart thing.
I just can't imagine in the commercial world. I know of some transactions where you can be you can be putting time and effort into a monstrous commercial deal for 9 months, and then from no fault of your own, it falls through, and this monster payday just washes or blows away in the breeze. I jump off a bridge.
I know. But I think that's what it looks like on the outside. I think on the inside, it's not. I know some commercial guys, dude, and they're great at what they do.
Yeah.
But they're working like an hour a day.
Is it? Okay.
It's not, because a lot of it's just math, and it's like just waiting. It's like, all right, due diligence period. All right, we need to look at the roof. We need to look at whatever, structure, whatever. Okay, this looks a little sketchy. Hey, Alex, go and figure this out for me. Okay, well, I'm going to make a few calls to some people that will go and give us bids on the roof. That's all you do. You don't do anything else.
Okay.
They go get the bids. Like, it's just way less emotional. So I envy that. It's just math.
Numbers.
If they're like, hey, if the roof comes in under $200,000, let's go.
That's what we're doing on the investor grade realm, but on a minor, aspect of it.
Yeah.
We're talking a couple $100,000, a few $100,000, not a few million or whatever. But I do like that part of it. A lot of it's just the emotions are withdrawn from it, and if you can just make dollars, you make sense.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And after 12 years of emotions, there's times where I'm like, I wish it was just math at times.
Yeah.
But anyways, I appreciate the time today. I know it was a little longer than expected, but I think there was a lot of good that anybody listening is going to learn from for sure. But don't overcomplicate it, guys. Like, I'm not saying that, Alex and I aren't doing things really well, but it's also not rocket science. If we can do it, anybody can do it, right?
For sure.
So if you, I'm sure Alex would feel the same way. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media. Your social media handle on Instagram is not your name, though. What is it?
It is not. It's twin_cities_realtor_.
Boom.
Yeah.
Got the all 3 underscores. See, mine is Tyler _Miller_realtor.
Okay.
I don't have the last underscore.
All the underscores.
Yeah, he has all 3. It's overcompensating.
Yeah, if you will.
Yeah, but reach out to us on social. We'd love to help however we can. I think at least that's what fills me up, is just helping other people out, and I'm sure you feel the same. So, but yeah, hopefully everybody learned something. If you know anybody else looking or that would be a good fit for this podcast, they have lots of good things to share. Don't keep them a secret. Send them over, and let's get all their secrets out for everybody else to hear. So, Alex, thanks again for your time, and I wish you the best of luck the rest of the way through this year, and I got no doubt you're going to keep crushing it, man.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.